Good day viewers, welcome to another edition of the Daily Strange Stories. I'm John Brown. Happy Wednesday. We're halfway through the week, I hope you're feeling accomplished and motivated. Our lead story for today. Commissioner Fannie Masemola blasts Shadrack Sibiya as General Mkhwanazi's political killings task team gets for murderers sentenced to life in prison. In the battle against corruption within South Africa's police force, National Police Commissioner General Fannie Masemola has taken a firm stand against his deputy, Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya, accusing him of going against direct orders in the disbandment of a key task team focused on political killings. This move comes as Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi's political killings task team achieves a major breakthrough, with 4 individuals receiving life sentences for their roles in a high-profile murder case. These developments highlight the deep tensions and intricate power struggles at the top levels of law enforcement, where allegations of interference and rogue actions threaten to undermine efforts to bring justice to victims of targeted attacks. General Masemola has made it clear that Cibia acted on his own by rushing the shutdown of the task team, ignoring instructions for a careful, step-by-step process. This accusation stems from a series of events that began late last year, when a directive from the suspended police minister Senzo Mchunu arrived at Masemola's office while he was away on leave. The directive called for the immediate deactivation of the team, which had been investigating numerous cases of political killings in KwaZulu-Natal. Upon returning, Masemola expressed concerns that such a sudden disbandment would harm ongoing investigations, insisting on a gradual wind-down to protect the progress made on active cases. Cibia, however, presented plans that Masemola found unsatisfactory, leading the commissioner to take personal control of the matter. He developed his own strategy, which he shared with ministerial officials in early March, proposing that cases already in court stay with the task team, while others move to provincial units or local stations for completion. Importantly, there was no intention to transfer the dockets to the head office in Pretoria, as that could stall progress. Despite these clear guidelines, Masemola later discovered that Cibia had issued orders for the team to hand over 121 case dockets directly to the head office, where they sat untouched, without assignment to any investigators.
On the 26th of March 2025, this year, a total of 121 case dockets that were under investigation were taken away from the task team as directed by a Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection, a Lieutenant General Cibia, who was acting on the instruction of the Minister of Police to disband the team. This was done without the authority of the National Commissioner, nor I, as a Provincial Commissioner, was never informed. These case dockets have since March been sitting at the head office ever since, without any investigation work done on them. 5 of these dockets had already instruction to arrest perpetrators, but nothing has been done because a Lieutenant General Cibia, being instructed by the minister, executing instruction of the minister, withdrew all these dockets and they are sitting in an archive in his office in Pretoria. God knows why.
This unauthorized action raised suspicions about Cibia's motives, prompting Masemola to launch a preliminary investigation into whether Cibia had deliberately ignored his duties. As a result, Cibia received an order to stay away from his office last month, which he has challenged in the Gauteng High Court in Pretoria, seeking to have it lifted so he can return to work. He argues that the order amounts to a hidden suspension and stems from unproven claims made during a press conference by Mkhwanazi in Durban on July 6. In that briefing, Mkhwanazi suggested that criminals had taken control of parts of the criminal justice system, pointing to executive interference as the reason for the task team's disbandment.
The work of the organized crime in Gauteng, supported by the political killings task team, has indeed been compromised. The disbandment of the political killings task team was influenced by the sterling work that they performed in Gauteng to uncover the criminal syndicate, which involved some members of the criminal justice system operating in Gauteng province, and not because of what I presented earlier, which was the work they did in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Their demise was as a result of them assisting Gauteng to uncover the criminal syndicate.
Cibia defends himself by referencing a letter from the suspended minister dated December 31st, which directed the immediate shutdown, and an email from Masemola's office 3 days later instructing him to communicate the deactivation and prepare a closeout report. Cibia also claims there were efforts to shift the dockets to KwaZulu-Natal's murder and robbery units, but Mkhwanazi rejected them, leaving Cibia's team to handle the cases. Masemola counters this by stating he only learned of the ministerial directive on January 2nd, after his leave, and while he accepted it as part of the minister's oversight role, he viewed the insistence on timing and method as an overreach into his authority to manage the police service. After meetings with Cibia, Masemola rejected the proposed plans twice, emphasizing the need to avoid disrupting investigations. The final approved approach involved sending dockets to local stations, not the head office, yet Cibia proceeded with his own directives, leading to the dockets becoming inactive. This conflict has escalated, with Cibia accusing Masemola of basing the stay-away order on a single source's untested allegations from the media briefing.
I don't want to cry foul here. If the National Commissioner feels that I'm the only one who deserves to stay at home, let's hear what the legal process will advise. But be that as it may, all I can say is that personally, I'm not worried. I'm only worried that the police have been put in this terrible situation, into disrepute, and the damage, all the hard work and been thrown in the dustbin. And I'm looking forward to clearing my name. And I'm asking South Africans to look at it as it comes. We will testify. Yeah. South Africans will make their own judgment. But I do have paperwork. Anginavalo.
Masemola maintains that the order is not a suspension but a necessary step to allow an unbiased preliminary probe, as Cibia's presence could intimidate witnesses who report to him. He also addresses Cibia's complaints about losing personal security amid death threats, noting that Cibia kept his driver and protector, and a special unit was assigned to guard him for 3 months. However, Cibia dismissed that team after only a few days, unhappy with the selection. The court case is set for a hearing later this month, promising more revelations about these internal divisions. Amid these high-level disputes, Mkhwanazi's political killings task team continues to deliver results, demonstrating its value even after the disbandment controversy.
Since the establishment of this political killings task team in July 2018, the team has been investigating a total of 612 case dockets. These case dockets include murders, attempted murders, intimidation, conspiracy to commit murders, and other cases. A total of 436 suspects were arrested and charged. 156 firearms were recovered, of which 55 of them were linked directly ballistically through our forensic testing to the political related cases. An additional 35 suspects who are members of the South African Police Service were arrested. The notable one is the one who's now in prison, who's been working with the parliamentarian who was involved in the murder, about the murder of one Senzo Mchunu. We're going to talk about that later.
Just last week, the team secured convictions in the 2019 murder of Oscar Hlatshwayo, a civil engineer who held the position of executive director in the Engineering and Infrastructure Services Department at the Alfred Duma local municipality in Ladysmith. Hlatshwayo lost his life in a drive-by shooting, and the task team's thorough investigation led to the arrest of 4 suspects shortly after the incident.
The initial shooting took place further up Francis Road, and his vehicle went down the road and it came to a halt there, crashing into 2 other vehicles. And that is actually where Oscar Hlatshwayo passed away and lost his life in that tragic shooting. So far, 8 people have been arrested, one being Mkhwanazi who is a co-worker and is the person who actually took the job of Oscar Hlatshwayo after the killing.
Their trial at the Matateni High Court concluded on August 6th, with each receiving a life sentence. The convicted individuals include Mkhwanazi, a senior engineer at the same municipality, who is said to have orchestrated the attack. Monji Mabaso, a businessman with ties to municipal tenders, served as an accomplice. Mtutu Zinjuza handled the coordination and provided the firearms used. Brown Noble, identified as the hitman, carried out the act. Masemola has welcomed these sentences, expressing hope that they provide some measure of closure for Hlatshwayo's family. This success underscores the effectiveness of General Mkhwanazi's task team in tackling cases linked to political motives and corruption, even as questions linger about why efforts were made to shut it down prematurely. The fallout from Mkhwanazi's July 6 press conference extends beyond the task team disbandment, with Cibia threatening legal action against Mkhwanazi for what he calls defamatory statements. Through his lawyer, Cibia demanded a retraction and public apology, insisting that the claims portray him as part of a criminal network involving high-ranking officials, including the suspended police minister Senzo Mchunu. The demand specified that the apology appear on Mkhwanazi's social media accounts, such as YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter, with warnings of further steps like a restraining order if not met within 5 days. Cibia's side argues that Mkhwanazi's remarks aim to damage his reputation and divert attention from potential issues facing Mkhwanazi himself, subjecting Cibia to unfair public judgment without solid evidence. As of last Friday, the deadline passed without a response or apology from Mkhwanazi, and Cibia has not yet followed through on the threatened lawsuit. These allegations prompted President Cyril Ramaphosa to establish a commission of inquiry to examine the claims of interference and corruption. Both Cibia and Mchunu have been placed on leave pending the inquiry's outcomes, highlighting the seriousness of the accusations that tie them to efforts to protect criminal elements within the system. Connected to these broader claims is a group of suspects forming what authorities describe as an alleged hit squad, including Santon businessman Katiso Molefe, former Johannesburg police detective Michael Puletau, and alleged contract hitmen Musa Gegana and Tleko Floyd Mabusela, known for their involvement in multiple criminal activities. The state is pushing to combine several cases against them into a single trial, seeking centralization to streamline the process. This group, along with controversial figure Vusimuzi, Kat Nhlanhla, who faces charges in some related matters, gained notoriety following Mkhwanazi's revelations about police capture. Their appearance in the Gauteng High Court at Palm Ridge was meant to start the trial for the April 2024 murder of Vaal engineer Armand Swart, but the state requested a postponement until October to consolidate the cases. Swart was targeted outside his workplace in what appears to have been a mistaken identity incident, occurring just 2 weeks after his company exposed price inflation in a Transnet tender for springs. The firm produced the items at R3.20 each, but they were resold to the state-owned entity at 152 rand per unit through an intermediary, inflating an order for 8,000 units from 25,000 rand to 1.2 million rand. Investigations suggest the intended target was one of Swart's colleagues involved in the whistleblowing. Tau, Gegana, and Mabusela were arrested soon after, with Molefe apprehended in December. Mkhwanazi linked the task team's disbandment to political interference following Molefe's arrest. The group faces additional charges in other courts, including the murder of Opa John Sefoga, known as DJ Somebody, and his bodyguard Sibusiso Mukwena and Sandile Mieza, in a 2022 drive-by shooting in Woodmead. They are also accused in the 2022 killing of Hector Buthelezi, alias DJ Vintos, and Tau, Gegana, and Mabusela in the 2023 murder of Don Tinjeni. Further, Gegana and Mabusela, along with Nhlanhla and his wife Tsagani, are charged in the attempted murder of socialite Teboko Tobechane and 2 others in October 2023. Their vehicle was attacked on the N1 highway near Santon, resulting in Tobechane sustaining a foot injury and one companion suffering a severe spinal wound that left her paralyzed and confined to a wheelchair, still in hospital with no prospect of walking again. Nhlanhla and Tobechane were previously in a relationship. Police have linked firearms from the Swart case arrests to at least 10 high-profile incidents, suggesting more charges could follow. All suspects remain in custody, with bail denied or revoked in various matters. Molefe, initially denied bail in the Swart case but successful on appeal, is now detained for the DJ Somebody matter and has another bail hearing upcoming. This web of cases illustrates the reach of these individuals, often tied to tenders, corruption, and targeted attacks on those who expose wrongdoing. The allegations of police capture have sparked an internal disciplinary process within the South African Police Service, targeting elements in the Crime Intelligence Division linked to Nhlanhla. Masemola has quietly initiated this under the leadership of Western Cape Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Thembisile Pategile, who is reviewing data from Nhlanhla's mobile devices. Last week, activity at the SAPS Tshwane Academy in Pretoria included sessions where implicated officers faced questions about their communications with Nhlanhla, displayed on large screens for explanation by the individuals and their supervisors. Sources indicate that additional devices seized from Nhlanhla's home, shared with his wife Tsagani, yielded forensic evidence implicating more officers in potential capture. This process follows regulations allowing the National Commissioner to delegate misconduct investigations to provincial leaders, aiming to decentralize while ensuring oversight. Cibia, on leave, is reportedly among those involved, though confirmation remains elusive. The police spokesperson has declined to discuss ongoing disciplinary matters, but the effort seeks to root out compromised elements based on Mkhwanazi's claims. Mkhwanazi's briefing revealed Nhlanhla's alleged connections to a syndicate involving senior politicians, possibly including Mchunu and former Minister Begitsele. He cited a cancelled 360 million rand SAPS tender awarded to Nhlanhla in 2024, revoked by Masemola on May 13, just before Nhlanhla's arrest in the Tobechene case. Evidence includes WhatsApp exchanges between Nhlanhla and Brown Mkhwanazi, an associate of Mchunu and President Ramaphosa's political fixer, discussing ways to influence Mchunu and Cibia to hinder investigations into Nhlanhla. There are also records of payments from Nhlanhla funding ANC events for Mchunu and Mkhwanazi. Mkhwanazi believes the task team raid on Nhlanhla's home prompted the disbandment decision. Nhlanhla faces charges including attempted murder, conspiracy, money laundering, and fraud related to the Tobechene incident, where messages reportedly showed him instructing assailants to aim for disfiguring injuries. Earlier reports linked him to investigations into the murder of Gauteng health whistleblower Babita Deokaran and tender irregularities at the Passenger Rail Agency of South Africa, PRASA. Recently, Nhlanhla was found with a phone in Gosimampuru Correctional Centre's CMAX section, where he is held, adding to his legal troubles. His wife Tsagani and another co-accused, Nthabiseng Nzama, are out on bail of 20,000 rand and 10,000 rand respectively, while Nhlanhla, Gegana, and Mabusela stay detained. Their next court date is August 26 in the Alexandra Magistrates Court. Nhlanhla's influence extends internationally, with questions arising in Lesotho about his ties to Prime Minister Sam Matekane. An opposition leader in Lesotho's National Assembly has formally inquired whether Nhlanhla attended Matekane's 2022 inauguration and if Matekane visited Nhlanhla's residence in Gauteng. These queries, submitted in writing on July 31, stem from information provided by someone in Nhlanhla's circle after his arrest. The Prime Minister's office has indicated he will respond in Parliament as required by law, but no answer has come yet. This connection adds another layer to Nhlanhla's profile as a figure with broad networks, from South African tenders and police interactions to potential cross-border political links. These intertwined stories reveal a complex landscape of power, betrayal, and pursuit of justice in South Africa's fight against corruption. From the top echelons of the police force, where commissioners clash over authority and loyalty, to the courtroom victories that honor victims like Hlatshwayo and Swart, the narrative exposes how personal ambitions and hidden alliances can derail investigations. The task team's persistence, despite attempts to sideline it, shows the resilience of dedicated officers, while the disciplinary probes and court consolidations signal a push to hold accountable those who exploit the system. As General Mkhwanazi's political killings task team continues to secure arrests and convictions across the country, which other cases would you want the task team to work on? Thanks for watching this news bulletin. Please share your opinion in the comments section. We would be glad to read and respond to your comments. Let's meet again tomorrow in our next strange story. I hope you have a wonderful Thursday.